Hello everybody, my name is Kara, and today I am here with the BookTube Weather Tag. This tag was created by Allie from Bookish Hamster, and she was also the one who tagged me, and I will link her original video down below. So the first question lists a few different kinds of weather, and then we are supposed to choose a kind of book that we like to read in this weather, and a book that reminds us of that weather. And the first type is rainy, and I love rainy weather, and the genre that I really kind of associate with that, or that I like to especially read during that time, is like Regency or like kind of cozy, like classic type books. So I've talked about Cotillion by Georgette Heyer quite a bit, but another one that I really enjoyed and that I kind of associate with like curling up when it's raining outside and just losing yourself in that world and that kind of character-focused like story with a little bit of romance is Indiscretion by Jude Morgan. I actually want to pick up a copy of this book at some point because I read it from the library and I enjoyed it so much that I really would like to buy it so that I can reread it. Next is Hot and Sunny. And I hate hot weather. I'm not a fan of the sun. I'm like the opposite of solar powered, I guess. Does that even make sense? Probably not. So basically I like to read books during hot and sunny weather that completely distracts me from how much I hate what's happening outside. So things like fantasy or fairy tale retellings, which I love to read anyway, especially when they can kind of take my mind off of that. But a book that reminds me of that weather that I actually would not want to read at that time is basically any kind of contemporary book that I don't enjoy because it's too much. It tries too hard. So my answer for this part is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. I know that's a very polarizing book now, but I just feel like it tried too hard and I just didn't enjoy it, so it's kind of my hot, sunny weather book because I didn't like it. Next is Snowy Weather. Now, I don't experience a lot of snow unless I'm visiting family somewhere else because I live in California, but the kind of books I like to read at that time of year or in that kind of weather are like really like classic novels or really slow build kind of books where you can just completely lose yourself in the story. Basically like a leisurely kind of reading experience is what I love. So I either read those kinds of books, or that's the time of year I actually do sometimes enjoy reading contemporary books, even though a lot of them are set like during the summer or at the beginning of the school year. I actually like reading them when it's really cold out because I'm already happy about the weather, so I feel like I have a more open mind. And also it just makes it a little more interesting. It's like to read a book where the weather or like the time of year is not exactly the same as the book makes it a little more interesting for me sometimes. So if I'm not reading a slow burn type of classic novel or something like that, then I really enjoyed To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I read this first book around Christmas last year and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well written and funny, and this is definitely one of the contemporary books I've read recently that I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed. Next is Cloudy and Gray, and that is another kind of weather that just speaks to my soul, and I really like reading kind of action or more plot-focused books during that time, or I guess I should say like plot and world-building heavy books, like something where I can just curl up with a blanket and just completely lose track of time, and you know, you look up and it's 5 p.m. and I've been reading for 6 hours. And a great example of that type of book for me is The Arithmetist by Brandon Sanderson. I really enjoyed this book. I'm not sure how popular it is compared to his Mistborn series or some of the other books he writes, but I really enjoyed the magic system that's like based on chalk drawings, and I really loved the plot and action adventure type aspects of this book. I liked the characters, but really what impressed me about this book was how seamless the world building and magic system and plot all kind of were and how they worked together. But highly recommend this one. And the last type of weather for this question is windy. Now where I live, that is pretty much most days. It is very windy outside. And the kind of book that I especially enjoy reading during that type of weather is a book that has just a little bit of magic. So sometimes that's a fairy tale or sometimes a like light fantasy kind of book. A lot of times that will end up being a middle grade book because I feel like they have a great balance of like real world and just a hint of magic. And an author who I think really exemplifies that is Eva Ibbotson, at least with her younger books. I do not enjoy her like adult novels at all. I've read a couple of them, but her books are just so magical and engaging, and I feel like one of the really fun things about them is that you're never quite sure if it's a fantasy book or not, at least with some of them. This one is The Secret of Platform 13, and it's arguably like the most straight up fantasy, and it's just such a great cast of characters, and it's really fun and light, but it never like talks down to you or like dumbs down the plot or the story, and I just really like her writing as well. So fun fact, I also associate The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett with that type of weather. And that's because there's a part in the book where Mary wakes up and she hears this noise and it's like this insane amount of wind and just blustery weather outside, and it's really frightening for somebody who's not used to it. And when she asks someone about it, they describe it as wutherin' or wuthering. Like that's the sound that the wind makes when it like sweeps across the moors. And I actually associate The Secret Garden with the word wuthering more so than Wuthering Heights. And that's because just The Secret Garden was what I read first, and it's just, I don't know, I guess that image just stuck with me. So that is a book that I definitely link to windy weather. Question number 2 is, what is your favorite weather? And I mentioned this already, but rain. I love rain so much. Unfortunately, we don't get a lot of it, but I just love when it's raining outside and I can just stay cozied up at home and not feel bad about not wanting to go out and do social things. But I also just think it's really like relaxing and beautiful, and I like it for less selfish reasons too. Number 3 is, what is your favorite reading weather? Again, that would probably be rain, but also just any kind of cold weather. Like I mentioned, windy or snowy, basically any kind of cold weather. I just want to be able to read inside my house and maybe go out for a walk or to get a cup of coffee or something. I just want to be able to venture out into the world and then retreat into my little book-lined blanket nest. And finally, number 4 is, who do you tag? And I'm going to tag May Cho and Shada Renee, and of course everybody else who wants to do this tag. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you soon with another video, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye!